Thank you to all of you who are here. We wish you the best of luck with your interview preparation. These are only, this is actually something we could do to help you out. We have prepared a presentation. We try to cover your questions that you came up with in the Google form. And if you have anything, feel free to write down your questions in the chat. After we finish the presentation, we will look at those as well. Okay, so here we are in Leeds, England. Hopefully that you'll be maybe holding an event like this in the coming year from England, from the UK, wherever your plans are to be in the UK. And there we go. Just a little introduction.
I think we kind of lost connection with Ariana.
Yeah. Oh, I think she's back. Okay.
Oh, okay. Ariana, I think we lost you for a couple of seconds. Oh, just really? Before you said, hopefully you'll hold the same events the next year.
Okay, so maybe not a good idea for me to continue even further. That's why Anna, please go on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again at this online meeting. My name is Anna. I'm coming from a very small Eastern European country named Moldova. I'm lucky to be among Cheveners 2020, 2021 already. And I'm studying with these gorgeous ladies at the Leeds University Business School. We are all on the same program, studying corporate communications, public relations, and marketing. I'm a communication professional, and previously, before applying for this master degree, I worked both for the nonprofit and the for-profit sectors. I'm looking forward to meet you. Feel free if you want to turn on your cameras, but if you feel more comfortable without it, it's totally fine. I'm a very smiley person and I love interaction. That is why usually I prefer to see people and to see lifetime reaction. I will give you the scene again to my dear Ariana. She will tell you a little bit more about herself.
Thanks, Anna. That was a lovely presentation because this is how we really got to know one another from the very beginning as smiley and positive people, happy and ready to help one another when needed. So definitely that's the spirit that the Chevening, I think, looks for and cultivates. So I'm Ariana, I'm from Kosovo, a little country as well, maybe even a little smaller than Anna's. My experience is quite broad actually in different fields. So I've studied linguistics, I've been a journalist for many years, a mentor to students and to teachers, and my experience was also related to marketing and communications. Besides this, I love traveling and writing poetry. So now we will go to another warmer country.
Hi everyone. So I'm Suelle from Jamaica. I live in Kingston, Jamaica. I worked in corporate communications. My journey started in corporate Jamaica. I worked on a lot of different regional campaigns in the Caribbean and Jamaica. And then I moved into human rights, which I've been for the last 4 years. And so I did a lot of work doing development communication in human rights in Jamaica. I've worked with a lot of regional companies in the Caribbean just to kind of help them, grow and expand in regards to human rights. And I love languages, so I'm big on that. I'm always on Twitter talking about something and arguing about something. Yeah, very vibrant and fun. I love the sun, which we don't have much in Leeds right now, but like I said, happy again to be here and just to share and learn about everybody else.
Thank you very much, Suelle. That was lovely. Before continuing, of course, that we need to make sure that everything we say in this conversation is totally based on our experience and does not in any way have to do with Chevening Secretariat or the University of Leeds or any other institution. So we are just these Cheveners from different countries of the world that want to help you out, want to share their experiences with you. And you can talk to these Cheveners during this meeting, address your questions, your dilemmas, your thoughts, whatever, and we'll try to help you out. Before we start, I would actually like to launch a poll just to see if your interview is going to be online or offline. If you can just vote real quick in this poll so that we have like a better understanding. Okay.
I feel like most people will say online.
Yeah, but yeah, there are some offline interviews as well. Yeah, but so that we just know how to address our advice for both settings, because I know that the three of us have had the online interviews, unfortunately, last year, but we managed to be here, so you can too. Okay, thank you very much for all of you who voted. Yeah, I can see that it's almost all of you who have voted right now. I'll end the poll so we have both online and offline, but 84% will have the online interview and 16% of you will have the offline interviews. Okay, cool. Anna and Suelle.
Yeah, so guys, we'll take you through a little bit a list of points, important points we think, which we would like you to pay attention before going to your interview. And first of all, even though for you it seems like it's too obvious, we want to remind you kindly about checking constantly the Chevening.org website. Mm-hmm. Because this is the most important source of information and the most credible source of information for you guys. On this website, you will find examples of some questions from previous year's interviews, and you can read absolutely everything regarding the program. The team from Chevening is very, very friendly. Whenever you have a question, I'm not really sure right now, but I think you can leave them a message. Also, you can reach anytime to us. And again, I will repeat myself. Please check constantly all the announcements, all the news will be there on the Chevening website.
And I think the next thing that we want to highlight, which is point number 2, is the importance about researching your field. So you have to know whether it is the area that you want to study. You have to really know in depth, like everything about this area, because that's how you'll be able to sell, yourself. So it's very important that you know everything about your field, that you pay very keen attention to current affairs, things that's happening. So when you have your interview, you're able to tie, your experience, all the things that you have learned, what you're going to learn. You're able to tie all of that in what's happening now, so they can have a practical understanding, of why it is so important that you need to get this scholarship, because, you know all these things and you have all these plans of doing these things. So that's something that you should pay very keen attention to.
Absolutely. Another key point for you, please try to check scholars' biographies. It's very important to see what other people who were previously chosen for Chevening, what did they do in their careers, what is their profile, and how this helped them to be chosen for Chevening, and luckily you'll be the next one to be chosen for this. Again, girls, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this can be is partly available on the Chevening website.
Yeah, for some of them, yeah.
For some of them, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that at this point, if you found out about Chevening scholars and Chevening scholarships, you have someone from your own network, or at least you know somebody from afar that was previously chosen for this scholarship. Try to ask them, how was their experience? what helped them in preparing for the process and for the interviews in particular.
And the next thing that's important for you to know, and I think this will come up in when you talk about the questions that you'll be asked in the interview, is that you have to know your university, know the area that you're going, and be able to say, why you have chosen this university, for example, why you've chosen to study in this country or this area, because those are things that they will ask. And then, you have to be able to kind of tie everything together. I think something with Chevening that they pay very keen attention to in when you're writing your essays, and also when you're doing an interview, is how you're able to tie all the different areas and everything to paint one big picture, of how you as a person fit into all of this, how Chevening fits into all of this, and then how all of that will, be able to push you forward as a person. So that's something that you should definitely pay keen attention to as well.
Absolutely. And if you already checked different forums or YouTube videos of scholars, how they prepared and what tips they have for the interviews, you probably noticed that they all said, please reread your essays. Most of the questions in the interview will be based on your essays. And since you submitted your application in fall, either September, October, or November, probably until this moment, how many months? About 3 or 4 months, definitely for you. Some things have changed for you. Maybe you achieved something new. Maybe you have some other things to be proud of. So try to think what changed in the meantime, and maybe there will be some points you would like to mention to the committee. Reread your essays and be very sure that you will be asked some questions based on them.
Mm-hmm. The next thing is, which is very important, is to ensure that you listen to the questions before you answer. I always tell people to take a couple seconds just to ensure that, you put your thoughts together right before, because it doesn't look good, you're answering the questions and, you're very jumbled and you're saying something and you're repeating yourself and that sort of thing. So ensure that before you answer, you take a couple seconds to just think in your head, okay, I'm going to say this, and then you go ahead.
And probably if I would be asked what was, for me personally, the most useful thing, which I did for preparation for my interview, it was the practice. I tried to imagine what questions will they ask me, and I was practicing myself in the mirror or just in front of my laptop. Also, I was trying to practice with real person, and it was very useful for me to do it with my family. Although it's not the same, and it's kind of, it may be a little bit weird in a way, but you have a real person in front of you, and you know that you can overcome some moments. Try to imagine what kind of answers you'll give to the interview committee, interview jury, and practice a lot, because it may sound simple, but when even a simple question such as, please give us an example of you being a true leader in your community. Even if it sounds simple, believe me, the moment you are in front of the committee jury and you're given this question, you may lose a little bit of time just because you can't come up with a real example. So practice is definitely the key to a successful interview.
Yeah, that's so true, Anna. I remember it for my interview when I heard it was going to be online. I remember I asked, my friends, to pretend that they were going to call me on Skype, because a lot of things go wrong online. And I'm going to share a story. The morning of my interview, I wanted to go into work to do it, because it was going to be very quiet. I had my office. I felt like I would be more focused in my office. And I don't know, in my head, I had the laptop, but I didn't carry my laptop. And when I got into the office and I was like, okay, I'm going to sign in, make sure the internet is working, make sure I look good on camera, I realized that the laptop wasn't there. And so I had to call my friend, and he had to drive to work very, very quickly. And like 2 minutes before my interview slot time is when I was able to go on. And I felt so, like flustered. I was like very nervous and anxious. So it's not on this, but ensure if your interview is online, ensure you check your internet is working, your battery is working, everything is good. Because if you mess up that interview, chances are you'll not have another chance to redo the interview. So just ensure that you do that, just to add to Anna's point. And just to wrap this up, I mean, you've already gone through your essays. I know it's a reason why you're not at the interview stage of things. So just be very confident, like, who you are, the work that you have done, everything that you want to do. So just be very confident, when you talk, sell yourself as much as possible. Don't undersell yourself. And, like it's on the screen, you were chosen for a reason. So just go and kill it when you get the opportunity to.
Yeah, just to complete your answer to Suelle's point, I was quite nervous before the interview. Mine was online as well, just because of the pandemic started last year. But I remember the people who interviewed me from the British Embassy in Chisinau, they were so chill, so relaxed, and so fun that by the end of the interview, I told them, I'm so thankful for you, because I think it was one of the most fun interview I ever had. Besides the formal questions, we also had some chit chat, and they asked me about questions about myself, although they were part of the formal questions they were supposed to ask me. But it was such a pleasant experience. That is why I really wish it will be a pleasant experience for you as well. So don't be too overstressed. They're just normal people, just like you. And as Suelle said, don't undersell yourself. It's time for marketing. It's time to put yourself in the best light possible. Should we move to the next slide, Ariana?
Yes, my laptop wasn't cooperating. Sorry. And I was listening to your advice, and all my Chevening interview experience just flashed back. I was in my house because I wasn't working from my office anymore because of COVID. So I just wanted everybody from my house to not even be there, because I thought that they might interrupt me with something. And I told them all, nobody has to have their Wi-Fi on, switch your phones, your whatever, laptops. I need the internet only for me, and I only want to be the only one that is using it, and be focused. Please don't enter in my room. I don't want to talk to anyone. But I don't know. Now that I think of it, you don't need to get stressed. You just need to prepare. I think that this is the key, preparation. And when I started my interview, my panel as well was very chill and friendly. They asked me some questions like, how are you doing during this time, and stuff like that, to start off the conversation. And then we got to the question, tell us about yourself. I know that many of you guys who have applied in the form asked us to answer this question. Tell us about yourself. This sounds really easy, and yeah, of course I can speak about me. Of course, I know myself. But whatever you say in here is really crucial, because it can give you it can give them actually a good impression of you. They should be feeling, after you answer this question, they should be feeling really good that they have picked you for a reason. How did I answer this? I started off by, once again, stating my name and my last name. I know that they know. I know that they have my CV and everything, but once again, I just told them that I was this person, I come from this town, and the first thing that I said is that I talked about my previous education. So I told them that I've studied linguistics, and then I have actually a long experience in journalism, and I think that I said something like, I am a person that is passionate about words. That's why I've studied linguistics. That's why I've been doing journalism for so many years. And that's why I still want to pursue an MA in communications, marketing, and PR. The words are our only power, I would say, because it's all about how we frame our messages and everything in the field of PR and comms, generally speaking. And I told them that I am passionate about this field and also working with a lot of people. I think that's my natural habitat when I'm working with people, helping out people, and as well. Oh, I think that I also mentioned the fact that I was a teacher. And then this just added up to that. I love working with people and I love words, and that's why I wanted to study in the UK for an MA degree. Of course, that I elaborated much more in the next questions. So this was just a brief intro of me. Suelle and Dana, I don't know if you would like to add anything in here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It may sound as a simple question, but try to have like a mock-up answer to this one, because it's the first impression you're making. And 99% chances they're going to ask you this question in the beginning of your interview. I'll slowly pass to the second point about leadership and influence. Although I don't remember exactly. Yeah, Suelle?
1 second, Anna, just before you move on. I think when I was going to do my interview, a past Chevener said to me that when you're answering this question, Chevening wants you to paint a picture of who you are. And so I remember that in my head, and what I did was I actually tried to make some points of key things I want to sell myself on. And I kind of painted them a picture, you know, from high school, you know, university, you know, how my experience grew, how I grew as a person, you know, a lot of the values I hold very dear to me, you know, the way I approach work, that sort of thing. So I would also just kind of add to what Anna and Ariana said, try to take them on a journey of how you have, you know, grown over the years, and where you are now. And I kind of ended the question with kind of saying, you know, why I saw it fit at this stage in my life to apply for Chevening, and how being a Chevening scholar will also add to, you know, my personal and professional growth as a person. So you can also keep that in mind.
Very good point. About leadership and influence, although I'm not remembering 100% my interview, I'm mostly sure that I've got this question. And I think it was based on one of the essays I submitted before the interview in autumn. But I remember saying that previously in my work, I was doing this entrepreneurship business competition for high school students. And in my career, I supported a lot of them to go to invest in their studies and to go and study abroad. And I wrote many recommendations letters for them. And most of my ex-students, I kind of mentored. They all got into very prestigious universities such as Harvard, MIT, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge. And I was inspired myself, seeing very experienced. That is why I wanted to invest myself in the studies. And they supported me along this way. So this is one of the examples how you can tie or relate this question to your previous work experience. Try to say how you influence someone, or maybe how that person influenced you back. I'm sure my beloved colleagues, Ariana and Suelle, will give you other examples around this subject. Do you want to complete somehow my response? Do you want to give your example? Suelle has plenty of experiences. So she's a very experienced communication and PR specialist. She can give you plenty examples of leadership.
I think I would just add to what you said, Anna, which are very great points. This question is a very difficult question for people to answer, but I think of all the questions that you will answer, this is the point that you sell yourself. You sell everything about yourself that you can, write everything down about yourself, and really go hard on this question, because this is a big thing for Chevening. As a lot of you know, that the scholarship is a leadership scholarship. So a lot of how, you know, they'll think, and a lot of how they score you is going to be when you answer, how are you a leader? You know, how have you influenced anything? So for me, I again, I had a journey that I, took them on. So I kind of started from my days in undergrad. I spoke about how, I was very involved in undergrad. I was a part of the guild of students in undergrad. So those are things you want to kind of point out. If you're a very professional person, so you have been working for a lot of years, then you don't need to talk about things you did in school because you have enough information to talk about. So you want to pick out the most impactful things from your career that you have done. So whether it is that you worked in a very huge story. So if you're a journalist like Ariana, you can maybe talk about a very huge thing that you worked on as a journalist that started a lot of discourse online or in that sort of thing. For me, that worked in communications and working in human rights, I think I kind of focus on a lot of the work I did at national and regional level. So I'm very involved in a lot of policy work in Jamaica, so I focused a lot on that. I do a lot of work around pride in Jamaica and pride in the Caribbean, so I focus on those things. And like I said, this is a question for you to sell yourself. They don't want to hear about very trivial things because you're interviewing with thousands of other people. And I know that this year with COVID, they're very particular on getting the best of the best. So you need to really dig deep. So now you have time before your interview. I will advise you to sit down, try to think about 5 or 10 points of impactful things that you do. Another thing I also did was I asked people to tell me how they saw me from their perspective. So, and then I used some of those points, to talk about how the people I work with, how they saw me, and kind of how those things shape, the work that you do and how you're able to navigate your professional spaces.
Well, I loved your last point about asking other people how they see you, because we kind of ignore that part sometimes, And when I read the reference letters, this is what helped me actually. And one of my reference letters was written by my university professor, who was a Chevener years back. So, and her sentences, the way she saw me, when I read her reference letter, I was like, oh my God, this kind of made me realize some points that maybe you don't notice when you talk about yourself. You can notice those strong points in your friends, family, but when it comes to you, you tend to kind of be like, oh, really? Do I do this? Am I this good? But yeah, when you read those points from credible people, like your university professor, for example, and one of them was from my director at work, and these all made sense and made me kind of see clearer on who I was and what I could achieve. I will give my leadership example as well, because I saw a question in the chat, but we also got this question in the form. Should I give other examples or should I repeat the essay once? I did not repeat my essay once because my life had changed dramatically from COVID, and I was doing leadership and influencing people's lives more than ever. I was working for a nonprofit before coming here. It was an innovative nonprofit. We had 3D printers. We started 3D printing face shields and donating them to the medical workers in Kosovo to protect them from COVID infection. And I started a campaign, a fundraising campaign. And when I was telling this to the panel, they were like, oh yes, we have seen you on TV. We have seen your work. We have seen what your organization is doing. And the panel was like, we really thank you for everything that you are doing for the community. And that was a really big moment for me during my interview. And then the British Embassy supported our campaign a bit later on. So this was my leadership experience. This was a big thing for me, so I didn't need to repeat my examples. But if you feel like something in the past really influenced what you did now, I'm talking about the after submission period, you can bring it back, but try to also update your story.
Shall we speak about networking now?
Yeah.
As you probably know, Chevening is really big on networking. They have this network of alumni, and they really try to motivate us to stay in touch and to keep on learning from each other even after we graduate. And they want to see how you use your own networks, professional or social networks, in your life, and how do you make use of them? How are you trying to impact each other through the power of your network? And be ready to give examples here as well. I remember we have a separate question for this in the submission form, right? We have an essay based only on networking. Yes, and again, you probably will try to answer your questions in the chat as we go through, but I saw some questions about this earlier. You also want to state maybe some other examples that you didn't state in your essay. And I remember saying that I'm part of multiple networks because due to my career, which is quite different in this 6 years, as I jumped from nonprofit to profit, I stated my professional and non-professional networks I am part of, and I gave them examples. How are we still keeping in touch? How do we help each other? I gave them examples of cross-national and transatlantic projects we did after, for example, graduating one program together, and how we're still have this sense of family, and we'll be probably staying in touch for the rest of our lives, because they want to see you coming back and being a representative or an ambassador of Chevening. And probably just like us, when we'll come back to our countries, we will be partly in charge of the Chevening community from our countries. Try to be as convincing as you can, that you are outgoing, that you know how to approach people, that you know how to stay in touch with them. My point here is done. Girls, do you want to complete here?
I think maybe the only thing I would add to your point, Anna, is again, this is another very critical question about networking. So I think it's going to depend on where you are. So if, like I said again, if you're somebody that has a lot of professional experience, then you kind of want to paint a picture of how, you know, you have been able to engage people on different levels, you know, how you're able to stay in contact with them. And also, how have you been able to use those relationships to help impact your work or to help create change? Or how do you work in partnerships, for example? And how are you able to kind of translate those things? So not only are you able to, you know, go out and have a conversation with somebody, but how do you take that conversation and put it into actual action? So you kind of want to bring those things out that you have done. And again, in everything, after the end of every question, you try to put a one line in to sell yourself again. So just to remind them, keep reminding them, you know, that, you know, you are fit for this, you know what you're doing, that sort of thing. I try to end all my questions just like a wrap up. When I'm doing a little wrap up, I try to, you know, hit a little point in there. So always kind of keep that in mind. But for the networking question, that's kind of all you really need to ensure that you're selling. Because remember, for Chevening, they're expecting you to learn all these new things, you know, to build connections. So like, for example, you know, we came to Leeds, here we are, you know, with Anna and Ariana, but we just didn't stay friends. What we were able to do is translate that friendship into action, which is what we're doing now, you know, with an interview like this. So just look at practical ways that you've been able to kind of do that kind of translation from conversation to action.
Well, I wanted to mention that point. Good that you brought it up. Because, you know, we just met someday in October somewhere, and then here we are now. So it's all about networking and working together to achieve a bigger common goal. In the networking question, I remember that I talked about how I have benefited from someone. So there was an event that was being organized by an embassy. I'm not going to mention the name of the embassy in Kosovo, of course. And there was another ambassador of another country in that event. And I was with my students in that event. And I was like, they wanted to carry on a project. And I was like, there is the ambassador that is dealing with this. Go and talk to her. They were like, no, we can't talk to her. And I was like, okay, I will go and talk to the ambassador. And we ended up having a really good discussion. And then I emailed her later on, and we tried to exchange ideas on how to work out on that project idea that we had. Unfortunately, COVID happened and kind of paralyzed that project. But hopefully when I go back home, I'll need to do that, because that's something I'm passionate about. But you can also tell about other examples where other people have benefited from you, from your work experience, and you've helped them grow in a certain aspect. So we'll move to the studying in the UK courses. This is, of course, a question that all the Cheveners have to research a lot, have to read a lot, and have to really have a good answer behind this, because this is the crucial part. You are coming to the UK to complete a program, and it's a master's program, so it's demanding, and you need to know what you are going to do in here. So when I was asked, why do you want to study in the UK? Of course, that you can talk about why, if they ask you why you have picked the UK and not the US, that's another story. You need to be prepared to compare the education systems of the both countries and tell them why the UK. But if they just ask you, why did you pick the United Kingdom and why these courses? Then, of course, you can talk about the things you like about the UK. Just be honest. What do you like about the UK? What do you like about the community here? What do you like about being a Chevener in the UK? So I can't really give an example in this, because this would be up to you. You should be authentic. So please don't try to memorize any answers or anything, because they have been interviewing thousands and thousands of people and they can easily tell. Just be yourself, but read a lot and research a lot. So I talked about my 3 courses in here, and I said I have picked 1, 2, and 3. The reasons I have picked the specific university is that this university offers some modules I'm really interested in, offers the practical work. Okay, I was assuming a COVID-free world, offers visits in different institutions and corporates and organizations that could also help me with networking. For the University of Leeds, I said that I really liked the modules. This is the reason I am here in Leeds today, because the modules were the best fit for me, and plus the part that we have corporate communications, we have marketing, and we have public relations in one degree. So I have done these 3 fields in my life. So this degree would kind of sum up all my interest in this field. And I said that I have researched about professors as well. I kind of knew about their biographies. I knew that they had won awards. I started to follow them and to read more about them. So I just became really interested and curious on this. And I also spoke about my 3rd choice, that was a degree that was a little bit different than this one, but still in the field of communications. And I talked about the things that I liked the most, that there was a consultancy project that was involved in that degree, and that really was something I was interested in. So I gave reasons for picking my courses, of course. For every university, you have to know why you have picked that, because you know there are hundreds of universities in the UK, and you should tell them that you have researched the universities, that you have researched the degrees that you would love to pursue. And I think this is it. I think this is what I talked about studying in the UK and courses. I also mentioned the UK values, generally speaking, that I would really love to experience. I would love to have the real life experience. here in the UK, that would help me with the networking. We still go back to the networking part because all these questions are interrelated somehow. So making a reference to another question sometimes can also be helpful to point out to something you really want the panel to know about you. Anna and Suelle, if you have anything else to add.
I think you gave us more of an comprehensive answer, which includes everything which you can possibly answer about this one. I would actually go and tell you a little bit about the career plan, which in my opinion is again one of the most important questions they will ask you about. And one of the most difficult questions at the same time. And I know why, because we live in a very uncertain world. So many things changed since the pandemic. We couldn't even imagine that there will be a pandemic and our life will change to 180 degrees. Even so, you probably know that Chevening is investing in you, and after your graduation, you'll have to come back to your country to give back to your community. And if you don't know exactly what you're going to do, try at least to imagine, to think about it in advance. They want to hear an exact answer from you. It may not be true. Many things, of course, can happen and change in the meantime, but they want to see you that you have a very clear vision about it. When they are going to choose you, they will choose you for a certain reason, that they see in you a leader with a clear vision, who knows very clear what he or she is going to do for their country. So try at least to come up with a vision regarding your career. I certainly knew that I would like to stay in the field of corporate communication. And at the time I was doing my interview, I knew that when I'll come back to Moldova, I would probably stay in the creative industry field. And I would probably do my best to create relationships between Moldovan and UK market, because at the moment we don't have really connections in this field. So I even told them that maybe I will be the next person to create these relationships. And I know it probably sounded maybe a little bit too confident, because I remember they smiled, but they said, good luck, and we really like this point. So don't forget, again, to the point of marketing yourself, this is another time to market yourself. Try to think big. Nobody's gonna, penalize you for not doing exactly the same thing you are telling them at the interview. They will not come in 2 years and check you. Are you doing the same thing you told us about? But try to be as specific about this as you can. Suelle, did you have a career plan when they asked you about this? Did you know what you were going to do after?
Yes, I did. I tried to, well, I highlighted 3 things. So my essays and what I said in my interview were based on 3 areas that I really want to work in when I go back home. So I mentioned, of course, I want to still work in human rights. So of course, I highlighted all the things I kind of wanted to do. And then what I did was kind of tie it back to the area of study, tie it back to the work I was doing at the time. So they kind of saw how everything impacted everything, and why having the scholarship would be so important for me, because I needed the scholarship to go to the next stage of what I wanted to do. So I tried to keep it very comprehensive. I didn't try to oversell anything. I tried to be as honest as possible. And yeah, that's what I think of all the questions. I answered the career plan the best, because like I said, I had everything down from when I wrote my essays. So I was very confident in how I answered that. But like Anna said, this is also a very important question, because they're big about coming back to your country and building your country and building it, however. So you have to kind of tie, and I'm not sure if it was the same for everybody, but this question was the last question. Like, this was the last one that they had. So they asked everything first, and then this was the last one. So I use it as an opportunity to kind of tie all the questions in together and to kind of end the interview that way, because I can't stress enough that they're very big on selecting people that have a very clear plan of what you are doing, of where you see yourself as a person, where you see yourself as a professional. So they're very big on having a very clear picture. And I saw somebody was asking about people on the panel. People on the panel don't always know you. So literally they're going to make a decision from what they scan in your essays and what you're answering now, you know, like that kind of idea that you're selling to them. So it's very important that for your career plan, they actually see why out of 100 people who will be interviewed, why do we need to pick you, you know, to be a scholar. So yeah.
Thank you, Anna. And so I just wanted to add that in the career plan, they asked me when, and when, because I had the immediate goals after coming back from the UK, kind of short-term goals, and then mid-term goals and long-term goals. So they were like, okay, after how many years do you think? So of course that they won't judge me after some years, Anna, as you mentioned, but they just wanted to see how realistic my goals were. That's why if I would say that I would love to do something really big within a month after going back home, they'll be like, okay, you got to do some magic or what? So try to be a dream and aim high, definitely, but also try to also be realistic in what you say. Qualities of a leader. We talk about leadership quite a lot in Chevening. So what are the qualities of a leader, someone you look up to? I think that people have been asked about their role model. What does a leader mean to you? Who is your hero? I've read all these kind of questions that you wanted us to answer. So what are the qualities of a leader? What do you think, guys? Can we use the chat and try to see what you guys think? What do you think that a leader does? What are the qualities that you guys think that a leader should have or already has? I would love to read some of your answers in the chat. I mean, empathy, love this. Collaboration, inspiring, compassionate vision, courage, inspiring, boldness, leader is an influencer. I think that you guys already answered this question.
I like that we have such an active audience. I like that you're communicating in the chat, asking us questions and replying to our questions as well. Related to this question, I had picked another one which is very similar to this one. They could potentially ask you to give an example of a person you consider a leader or somebody you've been inspired from. It could be an example of a person from your country, or it could be a person, I don't know, from any other countries in the world. And also be ready to answer why you consider this person to be a great example of role model. Okay, I see a lot of interesting replies in the chat. You're absolutely true. Everything makes sense when you speak about leader and a quality of a leader. So many good answers, guys. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Okay. Suelle, would you like to take the question number 7?
I was going to say we have 10 minutes left, so if we just wanted to do the questions, I think hopefully by you guys get to the UK, there won't be as much COVID issue as we're dealing with now. Hopefully our experience with COVID is nothing like what you'll get. It has been a challenge for a lot of the Cheveners. I was having a conversation with one of the Cheveners from in the Caribbean, and she told me that she went home, she got home on Saturday, because she said, it just didn't really make any sense for her to be here anymore. She was under lockdown. She wasn't, doing anything much, but just, waking up, going to school online. So she thought it was better for her to go home. So I think there are a lot of different challenges. A lot of people are dealing with it differently. Hopefully by you guys get here in September, there'll be a lot of vaccines, people will be vaccinated. So at least you can, go outside, you can have your classes face to face, and not like us that we're on Zoom for 8 hours of the day. So hopefully COVID won't be an issue. I think another challenge that you might face, which I think is something that I did not think would happen to me, for a lot of people who are coming from tropical countries. So, you're used to the sun, you're used to the heat, like you depend on that. Ensure that when it gets to November, you get your vitamin D supplements. I did not know that seasonal depression is an actual thing. I thought it was a joke. Apparently it's not a joke, and it's real, because our bodies are used to, the sun and the heat. When you don't have sun for a month, it really starts to affect you. So that's the number one challenge I would encourage people coming from where it's hot to ensure that you get prepared for when it gets to the winter, because the winter is brutal in Leeds. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. But I don't know if the girls have any other challenges that they want to highlight.
I can relate as well, because she has been telling me of this. I know that she misses the sun, but I come from Kosovo. Our winters are much colder. We get a lot of snow than here. So for me, it was not like a challenge. I'm used to it. But a challenge I mentioned during my interview, because the panel asked me this question, was, of course, the fact that I was going to miss my family, my friends, and my community back home, my colleagues, everyone, my students. So of course, everyone, maybe not only me, will miss kind of their slice of life that they had back home. And then they asked me, how are you gonna overcome it? Because you'll be staying there for a year. But I am the kind of person that tries to enjoy the moment. So of course that sometimes I am sad, of course, and I think of my family, or I think that I see my friends going out or anything. Not really so much because of COVID. Good, that's a good thing. I'm just kidding. But I said that I like to enjoy the moment and to forget about everything else and focus on my primary reason that I'm here. And I specifically said this sentence to the panel. Remember, I said, I have been dreaming of getting this scholarship for quite a good time, so I won't really have time to get stressed or sad or worry about everything that I left back home. So I want to enjoy my opportunity if I will be given it. And I would really love to have this scholarship, because I will be 100% focused on experiencing the real life, Chevening life. So this was my answer. Now we can move to the questions for the panel. Did you guys ask any question to your panel? Or I can share mine.
I think I did, but to be honest, I don't remember the questions I asked to my panel. I think it was something related to the timeline of the process in general, because some of the things changed suddenly because of the pandemic. But if you have questions, please use this opportunity to ask the representatives of Chevening in your country. If they would be able, they will definitely ask it. If not, they may come back with an answer in an email after the meeting. Just to add here a few things which we don't have on the slides, but I suddenly remember about it. They also might ask you, why did you choose Chevening scholarship and not other scholarship program? Because possibly there are many, but they want for you to explain why you consider Chevening more exclusivist, the more prestigious, rather than other scholarship programs. And also, If by the time you have your interview, you already received a conditional or unconditional offer from one of your unis, please state that, because it will give you extra advantage and extra points. I remember that by the time of my interview, I already had, I was accepted by all my universities, and they didn't know about it. Probably they didn't check my Chevening form being updated. They were pleasantly surprised and wished me good luck. So I think you can mention this as an additional point of selling. Ariana, do you think, also this is a question to all of you, I would be able to stay a little bit longer even though it was supposed to be only an 1 hour event? So if you feel like staying a little bit longer, it's okay, but we'll try now to wrap up and to answer the questions we received from you guys. But I'll stay longer, just in case if you want to have a little bit of more conversation after this.
Thank you very much, Anna. Yes, we have some questions. I think we have addressed some of those, but we'll be brief. How did you feel during your interview? I really like this question that you guys have asked because it talked about us and considered our feelings as people. Well, during my interview, before my interview, I was a bit stressed. But during my interview, I just felt like I was telling a friend that I've met my life story because they were friendly, they were nice. So I felt good during my interview. Don't ask me how I felt after the interview. That's another story. Anna and Suelle, how did you feel during your interview?
You know what, guys, and I will say this to you, try to take moments in during your interview because it's like a moment that you wait for weeks and literally it goes by so fast. So even days like now, like I thought, you know, sometimes I try to remember like what was I wearing, like how did I look, and my mind is just blank. Like for some reason, like I feel like everything went by so quickly in everything. But I think at first I was a little nervous because my panel had somebody from the High Commission here in London. So she was on my panel. There was a Supreme Court judge was on my panel, and a past chief, you know, I think from like down in the 90s. So they were very like intimidating people were on my panel, and I was like, what if I say something stupid? So the whole time I was so focused on being very poised and ensuring that, you know, I was answering correctly, you know, I wasn't using slangs and jargons. And then before I knew it, they were asking me if I had any questions for them. And I was like, wait, what happened a while ago? I couldn't remember anything. So you don't know who will be on your panel until you turn on your camera. So I would say try to be calm and try to take in the moment of your interview, because when it's done, it's almost like everything just went by so fast, you know? But yeah, that's how I felt. I was a little bit nervous, and then midway, I was listening to myself talk, and I was like, girl, you are brilliant. Like, calm down, you know, cut the nerves. And, you know, I felt a little bit better. And then, you know, they kept asking me, so like I will answer a question and they would say, okay, but why did you do this? Or why didn't you do this? And explain why this and why that. So also the questions that we're preparing you for, in answering your questions, they will just ask you different things in the process. So it's a lot to take in, but I have all the confidence that you guys will be awesome, amazing. So
yeah, just like the girl said, if you were already invited for the interview, there must be a reason why they invited you. There must be something very extraordinary about you, your experience, your motivation, and they just probably want to find out a little bit more about you, you know, to be 100% sure of their decision. I felt very nervous at the beginning, although I would say it's not the first interview I had in my life, but every interview is like the first time. But I told you that the People which interviewed me were really relaxed and chilled, and that gave me even more confidence. So I really enjoyed it. By the time it was finished, just like Suelle, you know, you're getting ready for this, just probably like, probably not the most relevant example, but as you prepare a wedding for 1 year and then it's just 1 day and then you don't remember anything about it. So just enjoy. I know it sounds a little bit weird at the moment, but do really enjoy your interview. I see many questions coming into the chat, so we'll probably try to take some questions from the chat and from the ones which we have on the slides. I saw just a question just right now. Somebody was asking, that person received offers from 4 universities already, and is asking which one to accept. I think nobody can tell you this. And I had exactly the same question when I received invitation letters from all the universities, because they're all great, but it really depends on the course you apply to. Try to go again through research and see which one is more suitable for you. Each of the universities have some advantages and disadvantages, but most of them have something they're known for. Like they're really strong in engineering, mathematics, communication, and try to see if that university is more suitable for you. Also, I would say each participant, each Chevening scholar has some criteria. For me, it was really important that this university is really known in communication, PR, and marketing, that they have a reputation for this. Because I also got accepted into Warwick University, which is like top 10 in the UK. But to be honest, Warwick is really known for exact sciences, such as physics, mathematics, and less for communication and media studies. That was one of the reasons why I decided pro Leeds University. Again, research, and nobody can decide for you. It's your personal decision. And believe me, you'll not regret it, because you'll not have anything to compare with, and you'll be happy with the decision you made.
I think one thing I'll add, Anna, how I really narrowed it down to Leeds, because I had 4 offers, but my top 2 were Leeds and Cardiff, because they're ranked.
For me. Ariana, I think you also applied to Cardiff, right?
No, I did not apply to Cardiff. I had offers from University of Kingston in London. And then I'll talk about changing courses, because so many people have been asking this. I did change one of my courses, so I'll go back to that. Sorry, Suelle, you can continue.
Yeah,
no problem. Yeah, and I think what should kind of guide you into what university you choose, try to look at the programs in detail. So look at the course outlines per semester, and then try to tie that back into your future goals. So for me, for example, I had a vested interest in communications, in learning more about marketing, you know, like where's marketing going, learning more about public relations and that sort of thing. And then for me, I was interested in understanding more about strategy from a senior management level. And then I was also very keen on knowing more about data and like how that can guide my work going forward. So Leeds got the edge over Cardiff, because Cardiff comms program, even though it was very globally focused, Leeds had marketing and PR in their package, and then their marketing also covered data kind of work. And then from their comms angle, they focus on very strategy level. So a lot of the courses were about corporate comms strategy, global strategic marketing, like those kind of things. And that aligned with what I wanted to do with my professional going forward. It also aligned with what I told Chevening, you know, that I wanted to do when I come back to Jamaica. So that's how I chose Leeds at the end of the day over all the other offers, because it tied into my work, where I wanted to take my work, and it also tied into the work I wanted to do when I go back to Jamaica. So use that to kind of guide your mind, you know, where do you see yourself going professionally? How is this course going to take you to that place? And then how is it going to help you to work back in your country, how you told Chevening that, you know, you'll go back. Because like I said, these people, after the interview, they sit and they argue about your answers and they deliberate and score. So if you have 4 persons on the panel, you want to really sell yourself to at least 3 persons, so the 3 persons can vote over the 1 person. So try to really think about all your answers and ensure that everything is adding up. So when you leave the interview, you know that you left everything that you could possibly leave there.
Thank you, Suelle. Definitely really helpful for all the participants here today. I would have loved to have this kind of interview when I was preparing for my interview, this kind of discussion when I was preparing for my interview, but maybe we will inspire you guys when you get the scholarship. Do not forget about others that want to get it. Okay, changing courses. I did apply for University of Greenwich, and they just had emailed me later on that this program will not be offered in September 20. So of course that I was with 2 options now, and I needed to have another option. And I told my panel after of this in my interview. I had already applied for another university, and I told them I applied for another university to replace this because they are not going to offer the program anymore. But I tried to keep, of course, in the same field of study. So I want to go back to this once again. It's not a problem to change the university. You can do that in the interview. You can also change the ranking of your universities, your first, your second, your third choice. You can do that. But what you can't change is, okay, I have applied for marketing somewhere, but now I want to study chemistry. Of course, Chevening will not allow that, to my knowledge. Disclaimer, I'm not related to Chevening Secretariat in any way. This is just my experience. Because you have justified your field of study in your 4 essays, in your everything, and now saying that you want to do completely something else will not most likely be acceptable, unless you have some really good persuasive skills. But I'm sorry, guys, don't take that risk. If you love one field, just go for it. Or you can wait to apply for the coming year if you have changed your mind, because you can't apply twice. You can't withdraw your application and then apply again in the same year. Chevening does not allow this until the coming round. So I hope that I've answered your question about changing courses, because it came up so many times. Yeah, you can change the priority 1, 2, 3, no problem. But even if you don't change it in the interview, you can change it later on when you get the offer. So they will firstly prepare the documents for your first ranked university. But when you get the scholarship, after you get the scholarship, you have a program officer. She will email you, or he will email you, and they will say, we have prepared your documents for the university X, whatever. And you'll be like, please, I have an offer from this university. I would like to go to this university. That is my second choice. They will allow you to do this. You have the unconditional offer. It is in your application form. You can go for whichever university you want. So you don't need to worry that much about ranking at this point, because you're allowed to pick whichever you want from the 3. Please apply and have your unconditional offers. Why did we win the award? I'll be really brief. I'm aware of time. I think that I won the award because of the passion and the interest that I've shown in really getting this scholarship, and the contribution that I will make in my home country with it. Of course, this is related to my experience and everything, but even if you have a lot of experience and you are a really good professional, if you don't show them that you really deserve this scholarship and that you really are interested in that, yeah, chances are low that you will get it. Anna and Suelle, what about you, if you want to answer?
I think it was probably the same as you, Ariana. I think I think it was all about how I sold myself. I after we had the interview, when we were at the farewell reception at the High Commission, and we were talking, I think a few persons who were on the panel were also there. I know they were, just having a conversation. And I think they said one of the reasons why I got the scholarship was how, like, with all the work I did in human rights, and how I wanted to kind of take a different angle, to kind of advance in that in Jamaica, and some other stuff. But I think that's why it's important to sell yourself, and to ensure that when you answer your questions, you're really selling, you're selling an idea to these people. Like I said, a lot of the times they really don't know you. They just had your essays to read before the interview. And so you're really trying to get somebody to be so impressed with you in about an hour of, them just asking you questions. So I think talk about things that you're passionate about, talk about your work and really sell it as, this is not just a scholarship I want to get just because, but this is something I want to get. And with this scholarship, I will be able to do so much more work, So I think if you sell yourself like that and you really talk about those things, I think you will win the award also, and you'll be able to say that this is why I won the award. So yeah. I'm trying to answer questions in the chat. If I look, like my eyes are going all over the place. I'm trying to see if
don't worry. I know that we have been so active.
People in the chat.
Yeah, I can see a lot that is going on in the chat. Can we repeat the same examples from essays? I would say yes, but please elaborate and tell them something they don't know. They have selected you there for a reason. If they were 100% convinced that you would get the award without the interview, they wouldn't have invited you for the interview. I mean, they wouldn't have interviews at all. That's why they invite you for interviews, to elaborate more and to show them other examples that you have been working on from September onwards, So this would be my advice. Try to add up something. If you guys have anything to add, please go on. Otherwise, we will continue with other questions because I know that we're running out of time. I don't really mind about my time. I would be happy to help. Sorry, Suelle?
Yeah. No, I was saying, I think we can go on to some other questions, or just to make sure that we're answering everything in the chat.
Yeah. How will the UK benefit from you? I saw this question came up earlier in the chat as well. There are many people asking me for YouTube. I've had a lot of direct messages about this until now. I'll say it right now. I will try to see if this recording has been working the whole time because I had a bit of a problem with my laptop. I'm not sure if it's going to work this time. I hope it will. If it's going to work, if it has been recorded, I will post it in the Facebook group where you saw the announcement and maybe email you the link. But sorry, don't rely on this too much. I'm not sure yet. Thank you for your understanding in advance. How will the UK benefit from you? So when all of us applied for this scholarship, we were so keen on contributing to the UK community, contributing to the university. So I know that I mentioned that I would be part of different groups, societies. I would volunteer. We would create a group with Cheveners, as we have. You can see that we are 3 Cheveners now trying to help others. So these are some points that I did mention when I talked about this question. But I can also tell how the 3 of us are communicating to the UK right now. So I am doing some volunteering. I'm a marketing school representative. This is kind of the link between the school and the students. So I have meetings where I like feed the school with the student feedback. I'm also engaged in the communications lab. We have created this lab in our program. So I am a host of the podcast team. So we have been inviting different people to talk about communications and marketing topics. You guys can follow us on Instagram, ComsLab, LUBS. So that would be Leeds University Business School. Suelle and Anna have also been dealing with different stuff. Anna is engaged with a blog post. She loves writing. Anna, you're writing an article right now, I know.
Yeah, we are preparing. I just shared it in the chat. This is our initiative of the guys on our course. It's a blog called Just a Thought. Please feel free to follow us. We're just sharing very random stories, and we're preparing a very inspiring post to International Day of Women, which is on Monday. And we'll highlight examples of inspiring women from all across the world.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And somebody else in the chat that I love this women panel. I do love it too. Women power. And Suelle also is really active in her work. She's a sustainability architect at the Uni of Leeds, also part of the International Students Board, right, Suelle? Sorry, I'm doing all the talking, but it's easy for me to talk about you rather than for myself, as we said in the beginning. So these two guys are amazing. And I think that we as a community, we are kind of really active in every single part of the course, you know, communicating with one another, trying to help people out. It's the Chevening spirit, right?
It is.
How long should the answers be? Until you don't have anything meaningful to say, don't say it for the sake of giving them a long answer. Mm-hmm. So until you have something good to say, go on. But if you feel like you're just trying to fill up the time, please don't do it. Okay, guys, you can go on with other questions. I'll try to look at the chat.
Let me see if there's anything I can. They didn't ask about your GPA. I think Chevening is not so much focused on your GPA. I think they're more big on the work that you're doing than a GPA. I think scholarship like Rhodes and Fulbright that are more like academic based are more focused on your GPA. I know like for Rhodes, you can only apply if you have a first class honors and stuff. So they won't ask anything about anything academic or like your GPA and stuff like that. It's really more about learning about you as a person and, you know, hearing about your experience and your plans and stuff like that. So I don't think I can how to answer the question about unpopular decision. I didn't get that question. I don't know what question, what that one is about. And I didn't have to do the Ielts exam. I'm not sure if Anna can probably.
Yeah, I think I can cover
to that.
I can actually cover both regarding the Ielts test. I was planning to take this test, but the thing is, we don't have a test center in Moldova. I had to travel to Bucharest in Romania to take this. But as you know, the lockdown struck all of us in March. So I wasn't able to travel because all the boardings were closed. And I was really panicked at this moment. My only option was TOEFL, but not all the universities would accept TOEFL. But taking into consideration the circumstances, some of the universities have changed and they said, okay, we accept TOEFL. What I did in the meantime, the thing is that even the TOEFL center was closed due to the pandemic. TOEFL had this special home edition, which I took unsuccessfully, not unsuccessfully because I failed, but because of technicalities. They closed my test twice without any explanation. I had a very bad experience with TOEFL home edition. Fortunately, in the meantime, the centers, physical centers have opened. So I took my test on 20th of June, I guess, but at the same time, just to secure another option, I took the Duolingo English test because Cardiff was the only university from my top 3 which would accept the Duolingo test. So I gave also Duolingo and TOEFL Thankfully, the results came in time, and I could receive this unconditional offer. Which I suggest you to do is not to wait until the last minute with the English proficiency test. Although I didn't wait, but such were the circumstances. If you can take it as soon as possible, even though you don't take the scholarship, which I really hope most of you will, you'll probably, most of them are like 2 years valid, right? Even TOEFL and IELTS, they are for 2 years. So please take the test, and you'll definitely need it. I don't know, I remember last year, Chevening said that they will not consider the TOEFL/IELTS score, but you will need it for the university in order to secure an unconditional offer. So don't waste your time with this. Please do it as soon as possible if you want to avoid the whole stress I've been through during April to June. Yeah, it doesn't give you in any way any bonus points if you're taking IELTS or TOEFL. They're both equal. The methodology is a little bit different, but they are the same, and they're recognized as at the global level. Yeah, in short, about my experience with the English proficiency test. But I wish you good luck, and I really hope you'll have a nice experience with both of them. Ariana, would you like to take another question?
Yeah, probably. But I think that Suelle also wanted to take the unpopular decision question.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So I think they asked this question in my leadership question when I was explaining a certain situation, sorry, and then they asked, how did the decision that I made, how did I learn from it? So I think from this, again, it can be a very difficult question to answer, but try to focus on what was the positive takeaway that you gained from the experience. So for example, the situation with me was I had to be engaging a lot of older white gay men from Washington, D.C. I was there on a program to learn about foreign policy. And, they were saying some things, about Jamaica, some narratives and stuff, which I didn't think was fair. And so it was a very tough stance for me to kind of have that difficult conversation, with those men. They were working in the Department of State in DC, in Washington. So, it was kind of a very intimidating kind of experience. But I thought, as the person from Jamaica, it was my responsibility to kind of make that clarification and, to kind of educate people in the room about what was really happening in the country. And so I took it, I was very honest, very polite, in my response. And from that, we had very good conversations leading out of that meeting. We had a lot of follow-up email discussions and stuff like that. And we actually got to get a small grant from them to do some work back in Jamaica. So like I said, try to focus on the positives, try to highlight how you handle, the situation, and try not to focus on the negatives. I think they ask you this to see how you react to difficult conversations, to difficult instances and stuff like that. So try as much as possible to focus on the positives, try to show, how you're able to be a professional at all times, try to show that you can be a very emotionally intelligent person and that you can have a disagreement without it being an argument or something that's very disrespectful. So that's how I would say you can kind of approach answering a question like that. I hope that helped in some way for that one. And yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, I was going to look on the question about the panel. Like I said, different people will be on your panel. You don't know who will be on your panel until you turn on your camera or you walk into the room and people introduce themselves to you. But know that it will be people who are industry leaders in your country or a part of the High Commission, whether it is in your country or here in the UK. I'm not sure what was the process like for Anna and Ariana, but for the persons in the Caribbean, even after we got the scholarship, when we went to the consular office to do our visas, we had to do a visa interview there. And persons directly from the office in the UK are persons who interview you. I'm not sure if that was a situation for you guys, but that was another intimidating experience. I was like, another interview again. But they asked about like 3 or 4 questions, which was not really hard to answer. But yeah, I'm not sure if you guys would be able to go through that experience, but yeah.
I didn't
I see many questions, and I receive in private many questions. I try to reply and to answer to them as much as I can, but please don't get offended at us if we skip some questions. It's just physically not really possible to answer all of them.
Yeah,
but we
write the questions for everyone, maybe, or I don't know, try to divide the questions between the 3 of us so that we just don't have Anna that is bombarded by questions.
No, I'm sure the other girls YouTube probably also receive a lot of questions. What I wanted to it's not like a question, it's probably more as a boost of confidence for you guys and a boost of motivation. If somebody would ask me about the whole application process, I will probably start crying because it was so difficult. It was so many things against me. You don't even imagine through how much of horrible things I've been with all my Chevening journey. Like at one point, I was thinking that everything is against me. The closing of the English proficiency test. Then I had different issues with the applications at the universities. Lots and lots of things, which I fortunately kind of forgot about them, but it was very, very stressful. But at the moment I received my final answer regarding the scholarship, that I've been selected for the scholarship, and when I read this message, I cried of happiness. It was such a relief, first of all, but it was such a huge happiness because I knew that it wasn't in vain. All my efforts, all my stress, all the sleepless night were, they were for something. I did it. And you'll probably feel the same when you will receive. I really hope that most of you will receive this positive answer. And believe me, even if you don't receive it this year, the other Moldovan scholars which got the scholarship for this year, other 2 girls, they applied for 3 and 4 years in a row before they got accepted this time. So it's about never give up. It's about being very serious about your work. And you know that it's totally worthy when you are here and you're meeting all these wonderful people and you have a totally different experience than you had in your bachelor degree. You'll be so thankful for all the efforts you invested in this journey. And recently, one of my professors was saying something about one of our assignments that we were supposed to do. And I told him after the lecture, but I am a little bit not so confident about this since English is not my native language and I'm not sure I can do good in this. But I was so happy about his answer. You know what he said? He said, Anna, I think you are a Chevening scholar. I said, yes. And he said, well, for me, this is enough to know about you. And I think you'll do great. And that was such a huge accomplishment for me. It was so unexpected, but so motivating for me as well. And at the same time, it put a little bit more pressure on my shoulder because I think that he has now more expectations from me than I knew that he had. So, Chevening is very well regarded here in the UK. People really know how hard it is to get a scholarship. And when you will get it, you'll know that, you know, you really deserve it and you did really great in this journey. I wish you good luck. At this moment, if you have questions, I don't know, I'll try to answer them, but I kind of feel we covered most of them. And I'll give you the floor again to my dearest Suelle and Ariana to tell you maybe the last words and to encourage you, to motivate you to go until the end.
Thank you very much, Anna and Suelle. Thank you to everyone who was with us until now. I hope that we tried to answer all of your questions, but again, my number one advice, chevening.org. Please read everything. And I remember that when I was preparing for the interview, I even read the blogs they had posted like 5 years ago. I went that down in the back in time. So I was trying to read everything Chevening had posted. I'm not saying that I needed all that information, but I just wanted to make sure that I know everything about Chevening. I knew about the history. I knew about how Chevening started. I knew what the word Chevening means. I knew about the alumni network. I knew about the presidents that were Cheveners. So I tried to read a lot about Chevening community and Cheveners generally speaking. So this would be my number one advice. Be authentic, be you, and just tell them that you really deserve this scholarship because you believe in what Chevening stands for and you also have the same values. Suelle, if you have anything to add. I think we also have a slide for Leeds, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody here applied to Leeds or has any interest in coming here.
Anna.
And I think even then, I think we could only speak about the business school. So I'm not sure if anybody even applied to the business school. But I guess just to close, we have somebody that applied to Leeds. Is it to the business school or is it another program?
It's just University of Leeds.
Oh, I think it's probably University of Leeds. I think.
But in the end, it's the same because business school is part of Uni of Leeds.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Yeah, I think it's our school. Leeds is great. Leeds is in the country, so it's not London. It's not a London. It's not a Birmingham. It's not a Manchester. It's a little bit more low key here, in Leeds. But the landscape is really nice. So, you know, if you're a person that loves nature and loves to see the old kind of buildings, then Leeds is definitely for you. Plus, you have York. That's maybe like, I think on the train it's maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, and you can just go to Manchester.
With the train is 20-25 minutes.
Oh yeah, and you can always go to Manchester, which is an hour and a half on the train. So we're pretty near to other big cities, but
this doesn't mean that we traveled a lot. We actually didn't.
We haven't traveled anywhere.
Yeah, not yet. All my hopes for summer. Yeah.
Yeah. But just to close, I will say, just try to take everything in. I know a lot of people get very hard on themselves and you put a lot of pressure on yourselves. Try to understand that you're human and a lot of things can impact if you get or don't get a Chevening scholarship. So don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't go, you know, how you want it to. And I know, you know, you might feel, you know, down and feel like, you know, you fail at something, but a lot of different things can impact, you know, if you don't get the scholarship. So all you can really do is put your best foot forward, be very confident in how you answer your questions, be very clear with how you answer your questions, try to be very concise. And you got the interview, so it definitely means that you have impressed them enough for them to hear more about you. So just try to build on that, and congratulations to getting this far. And I hope I'll be seeing your photos on the Chevening side, you know, saying Chevening Scholar 2021, 2022. And good luck with everything. I see some direct questions, so I'll try to answer them really quick in the chat. But yeah, that's all I have to say, Ariane.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm just leaving this slide here. I think that we have mentioned, but not specifically as we have written this down here in this slide. So when you talk about something, just give them the background, what the situation was. Don't assume that someone from London will know what is going on in your country. If you have done something that affected, I don't know, a particular community, just say it. Tell them what the context was. Tell them what needed to be done in that situation and what action you took. What was your role in that? And then what was achieved with your work? How your work impacted the lives of the other or the opinion of the others or whatever you guys did. So this STAR approach is really useful. And we have been talking about this STAR approach also in one of our modules here at the Uni of Leeds. I am receiving a lot of questions about different universities like Edinburgh and many other ones. Sorry, guys, I can't really answer about those. I don't know. You just need to research your universities and decide which one best meets your career plans and your ambitions for the future. So this would be it, I believe. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you, Anna and Suelle.
Thank you, Ariana. I must say to everyone that that was Ariana's idea. She came with this idea and asked us if we want to get involved in this. And I'm so thankful that she did this because now I feel so inspired myself. And I think I am thrilled for you guys because I remember the emotions I had about 1 year ago. And I feel so energetic now after all these questions and going again through all the experiences that we had together. What I can say now is lots of good luck to you. Be yourself, be confident, and no matter the result that you'll have at the end, be thankful to you. Say a big thank you for yourself because it takes a lot of effort. All the application process is difficult, and we all know how it is because, as they say, we're all in this together. So, and never give up. If this doesn't happen this year, it might happen the next year. And everything happens for one reason. This is one thing I learned by my 26.
Yes, definitely, Anna. It really is not important whose idea it was. The important fact is that the three of us are here together, and we are such a good small community in here. But now we had almost like 100 participants in this meeting, and we kind of met like-minded people. And I again go back to the Chevening spirit, to openness, to communication, to understanding. So this is what I really love about this whole community of Cheveners or aspiring Cheveners. And I really love that part that even if you don't get the scholarship this year, there are people who got it on their 4th try. It does not mean that you are not good. It does not mean that your experience is not relevant. It's just something else that the committee saw that it's more relevant maybe to your country, or I don't know, there might be different reasons. But if you are passionate about this scholarship, don't give up and read as much as you can. My all-time advice. So thank you. I see people connecting with Suelle. You can connect, on LinkedIn. That's a good idea as well, actually. Yeah, if you have any questions, because of Facebook, I think that many people have been direct messaging us, but sometimes, Facebook is so, crowded. So LinkedIn would be a good idea for professional questions, in this case, for our Uni of Leeds journey and for the Chevening Scholarship, generally speaking. Wish you the best of luck, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you, Anna and Suelle, once again.
Thank you, guys. You totally made my day. I'm so smiling. I just can't stop smiling. I think my cheeks hurt already because of so much smiling.
Oh, you're so great. I love you guys.
Good luck to all of you. I'm reading all the comments in the chat. It makes my heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So great. I mean, I really I really loved spending this time with you. I see these girls daily, almost daily, because we have courses with each other, but it's still always, okay, we still receive comments. It's still always a pleasure to spend time with them. And you'll actually, when you come here, you'll understand how wonderful Chevening community is, and you'll probably find friends among them. And I'm so thankful that it's 4 of us on the course. Which is great. It says something about our course. It's actually a very rare thing to have so many people on the same course. It's rare sometimes to have a lot of Chevening in one university, but 4 of us on the same course, this probably says a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. And thanks, Anna. Guys, if you want to know, Anna is the one that keeps the whole community together. So Anna is the one that is responsible for many great memories that we've had together in Leeds. Thank you. Okay, we'll stay behind if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we'll be leaving soon.
And again, if we missed by mistake, we missed one of your questions, please don't be, please
I think you guys should put your LinkedIn in the chat.
Yeah, you can find me just like this. To be honest, my LinkedIn profile needs to be updated.
Okay.
But anyhow, you can connect with me. I'm still active. Well, active, not as active as I should be. When you will be here in K, you'll understand that LinkedIn is a big thing here. Every time talk about LinkedIn. Yes, it is okay to repeat the same examples we said about this, although it's we really recommend you to come up with different examples than the ones you mentioned in your essays, as most recent as possible. Try to put yourself, try to add value to your interview by giving other examples than the ones they already know about you. We will share the recording. I think, Ariana, if everything is going to be fine, because Ariana said she will do her best, we'll probably send you the recording via email.
Okay, that sounds good.
And
okay, I think I'm going to go because my groceries are... I have to go downstairs for my groceries. So I'm going to hop out. But my LinkedIn, my name is my name on LinkedIn. It's the same everywhere. So thank you, girls. I guess we'll talk after all of this. So I'll see you. Yeah. And to everybody that's still here, all the best. And bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Lots of love. Thank you from Leeds to all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.